honor, and I hope he forgives the interruption, to present an outstanding American leader, Mr. Eric A. Johnson.
I'm wondering if any of you realize how much Israel has contributed to the cause of freedom around the world. And this one thing, if nothing else, this one thing should make you proud to be in the inauguration of the 1962 Israel Bond Drive. Because bonds have contributed no small measure to Israel's development. And it will be bonds that will continue, as has been stated so well previous to me, to make the dream of Israel come true. Perhaps I can best epitomize what this bond drive can mean and synthesize what you should understand about it by telling you a story that I recently heard. It is a story of a man and his wife and their little girl who were making their way across a vast wheat field. And the little girl held the hand between her mother and her father because the wheat was higher than her head. And suddenly, absent-mindedly, they looked down and they realized that they'd dropped the hand of the little girl. And they looked around for the little girl and couldn't find her. And finally, in desperation, they went back to the village. And they got the villagers to come out and look for the little girl, too. And they looked all that day, and they looked all night, and they looked all the next day. And they couldn't find her. And finally, one of the men said, "Why don't we join hands and form a comb and go through the wheat field? In this way, we will find her." And it was only about an hour and a half later till one of the men came upon the lifeless form of the little girl. And he raised the little girl and put it into the mother's arms. And crying out in her agony and despair, she said, "My God, why hadn't we joined hands sooner?" And perhaps all that I can add to this is to say, never let it be said that we failed to join hands in the cause of Israel.
You've heard of the rabbi who became a comedian? Well, Jetzel is the only comedian who has now become a rabbi. I wish with all my heart that Eddie was here to make this plea. He'd do it much better than any of us, me particularly. You know why he's not here. So won't you please respond as a tribute to him on his 70th birthday? I know you've all bought bonds. Buy more. As a token of your happy birthday wishes to Eddie and your prayers for his health and many more years of happiness with Ida and the children. I spoke to Eddie before I came here. I said, "Eddie, I'm going to the dinner tonight. All your friends are going to be there." And all he said to me was, as he has said for over 45 years, that we have been friends. God bless you, Sophie. I've always loved you. So, keep on loving Eddie.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce a very fine artist. I was quite proud of the fact that she appeared on my television show not long ago, and I thought, and many people did, that it was probably the classiest, the highest class program, and also in comedy, one of the funniest that I have ever done since I've been on television. The great Metropolitan Opera star, Miss Roberta Peters, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd like to sing an Israeli song, a song by an Israeli composer. And I'd like to dedicate it to our very dear, beloved Eddie Cantor. The name of it, thank you, is Agadah, the Legend.
There's a story that I always knew, but never thought much of. It says the boy that's dear to you will end up being your love. I've searched over the seas, I've followed the sun, I looked over the world to find the right one. When all my hopes had faded from view, I looked around and found them in you. Love the legend, everyone has his own. Love the legend, only your heart has known. If you want it, and if you wish it fall, love will find you. Don't ask me how I know, I just know.
When a man reaches 70, he stands on a mountaintop. On the heights, he's reached in the long climb to find life's purpose. From that height, he can look around and see the road he's traveled, the world he's inhabited and enriched with his labor and his talents. This we call perspective. This we call the wisdom that comes with the years, the wisdom to separate the essential from the trivial, the good from the bad, the real from the false. In summing up the life and work of Eddie Cantor, we can well apply to him Wordsworth's definition of the happy warrior. Who is the happy warrior? Who is he that every man in arms should wish to be? It is the generous spirit who, when brought among the tasks of real life, hath wrought upon the plan that pleased this boyish thought, whose high endeavors are an inward light that makes the path before him always bright, who with a natural instinct to discern what knowledge can perform, is diligent to learn, abides by this resolve, and stops not there, but makes his moral being his prime care. In everything that he does, Eddie Cantor has made his moral being his prime care. That is why the light of goodness shines from his career. Long life to him. I'm proud to call him my friend and my brother. Thank you.
We don't talk very much about this. We don't publish articles in the papers about it or refer to it in speeches very much, very precisely, because it would make it tougher for them to get out. But Israel is once again conscious of the fact that it continues to fulfill the reason why it had to be born. And that is not that there should be another little country in the world, not that we should have ambassadors and our own flag flying in front of the United Nations, but that this little country, which was our ancient homeland, should once and for all lick the problem of the homeless Jew. And as long as there is a state of Israel, there will never be another homeless